Welcome to our Spain, Poco A Poco. Hi, Gaetano. How are you doing?
I'm doing bueno. Tanya, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Today we're going to talk about Segovia.
Yes, the important sites. Some sites to see.
Some sites.
Some sites to
There
see.
may be important sites to somebody else that we're not listing here, but we're going to list the main things that
The
are
things to do,
exciting.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you just happen to pop into the city, these are some of the things that are easy to access. How about that?
Yes, and I will say also probably very hard to miss. This isn't a little thing around the corner type of city.
We're not giving you off the beaten path.
No, everything's on the beaten path.
On the beaten path, in your face. And well, the first thing, it can't be any more than in your face than the Roman Aqueduct, which is, I think, what Segovia is really famous for, or one of the things it's very famous for, but it is a postcard moment.
It is a postcard moment. And if you go online and you're even imagining going to visit Segovia, this is the images that you're going to see. But it is quite a spectacle.
It really is. And what I think is amazing, well, it's an aqueduct, so obviously it's from the Roman era. It's from the Roman times. But there's no mortar or cement. It's just carefully placed bricks and blocks and things, which I just don't know how they did this stuff back then. We were a smart species.
We were.
Yes. Now I can't even type on my own phone.
Yeah, exactly. And they built over 160 arches, and it's nearly 29 meters high at its tallest point. This is no small thing that they built without any cement or mortar or anything. I could barely put a tile together on a wall without that. So I don't know how they did it.
Right, exactly. And it is a UNESCO site. Something else that is like dumbfounds me is that it was still delivering water into the city into the 70s.
I know, isn't that crazy? When I read that, I was just really amazed that was the case. And you're seeing in Segovia, like the picture postcard part that you see obviously is very dramatic, but it is 17 kilometers of aqueduct that comes from the mountains. So there's a whole bunch of it that you're not seeing that is also incredibly impressive. And I think the only reason why they stopped using it in the 70s was just it became difficult to keep up because I guess we lost the technology or something. But they were having water leakages and the stone blocks were decaying and things. And obviously,
there's erosion. Water does erode stone and things like that.
Yeah, but that is impressive. I was also surprised when I read that. That was not that long ago.
2,000 years it's been there. Just saying.
Amazing. And it was bringing water into Segovia for the fountains, for these famous public baths that we've probably all visited in various places, and also private houses. I would imagine maybe the fancier private houses, possibly.
Maybe, I don't know.
I would have to take a guess.
Or any of the houses that were still on the old system, right?
Right, exactly. So very, very, very impressive. And obviously, if you're standing in the plaza there, as a Guejo Plaza, you look up and it's just amazing.
It's in your face.
It's in your face. Yes.
You can't blink and you'll miss it.
You cannot blink and miss it. And it is part of their coat of arms. Obviously, they're very proud of it, as they should be. So you can probably find yourself a nice postcard or a T-shirt or magnet with this on it, I would imagine.
Won't be hard to find souvenirs.
No. Very impressive.
Number 2, we are going to talk about the Alcázar of Segovia, also known as the Palacio de los Reyes de Castilla. Did that sound good? Am I getting better? No, she said.
Palacio de los Reyes de Castilla.
That's what I said.
That's what you said. This is a beautiful castle up on the rocks and the mountain, and so you're going to see that. If you're up there, you're overlooking the town. If you're in the town, you can look up to it. So very pretty.
Yes, very pretty. And for all of our Disney fans out there, this is one of the main castles that inspired the castles that are the centerpieces of all the Disney resorts, So
yes.
You see it. You see the
can
turrets.
Tell.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, and specifically the the castle also in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And when you put those two together, you're like, oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Like not just the design of the turrets and the roofs that are very Disney-esque now, we would say, but obviously they're very Segovia-esque.
It's very fairy tale. It is definitely a fairy
tale
tale castle.
Yeah. And it's also because of how it's situated on the side of the cliff, it's sort of the rocks and stuff, it really has that very dramatic feeling, which is also appropriate.
It almost looks like it's fake. I'm just going to say that.
It does look fake.
It's so authentic. It looks fake.
Oh, right. This also the foundations date back to the Roman times. And it was most of what we see today in the castle was built in the Middle Ages. But it did serve as a fortress, a royal residence, a state prison, military academy. So, I mean, it's been through it. Still standing. And
it was the royal residence for over 20 different monarchs.
Yeah.
And Queen Isabella was crowned there. Queen Isabella I in 1474.
Yeah.
And, it's got its important halls of kings and all those things and artwork.
Yes. It has many statues of Spanish monarchs, which I think is a unique thing inside of that castle to visit, which is quite interesting.
And then there was a fire in 1862, which destroyed a bunch of the roof. But, the clever Spaniards, they brought it back to its former glory, as they say.
A lot of devastating fires in a lot of the things that we've been talking about. And I always I don't want to test this, but I don't understand how something that's completely just made of stone and concrete can go up in flames, but
yes.
They can.
They can. Well, they've got the wood. The roofs are made of wood. Yeah.
Exactly.
Look at Notre Dame.
There you go. And that is the part, but that it was destroyed, I guess, was the roofs was where the problem was that they put back together. So that's good. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's worth a visit, I would say.
Definitely worth a visit. And there is a vista point in Segovia where you can see that is kind of famous for its visibility of this castle and the town below and everything. So there's the vista point is called Mirador to look at de la Pradera de San Marcos. So that is this vista point that's very famous. So you can sort of add that to your list of places you maybe just want to stop by to take photos.
For your Instagram moments to make all your friends and family jealous of your fabulous life, your fabulous traveling life.
Exactly. Got to do that.
And what city in Spain would be complete without a cathedral? So it does have its requisite cathedral, the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Assumption and of Saint Fructus, because Saint Fructus is the patron saint of Segovia.
Okay, so it's appropriate that he's
named.
He's named there, and his remains apparently are also there.
Yes, they're in a little silver urn tucked away.
Oh.
Yes. They also call this cathedral, the nickname is the La Dama de las
Cathedrals.
Thank you. You know what? The Lady of the Cathedrals.
There you go.
Because it was built in the late Gothic. It's one of the last churches in Europe built in the Gothic form, but it's in the flamboyant style. So it's that transition to Renaissance. So it's very ornate, lots of flourishing on the facade of the church.
Oh, I see. And then, so it was kind of stuck between the eras a little bit and had a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a transition piece.
Yes,
yeah, it's
a transition piece.
That took 250 years to build. So,
that's a transition. That's a really long transition.
Yes.
Well, as we've seen in other places, and you might notice that in the church, that there's certain parts were built earlier, have a slightly different style than the parts that are built later, but the overall look is going to be a lot more elaborate, giving it its nickname. Yeah.
So I guess what happened is the original cathedral was burnt down or was destroyed during a revolt in 1520.
Burnt down
so
again.
They built this they built a new one, but they changed the location. So this one's now in the center of town. And all of that, and
on a higher ground, which would apparently
it's on the Plaza Mayor, which is the highest point in the city.
Yeah.
Yes, so it was built there for better strategic value.
Which is interesting to to actually decide to not just rebuild it where it was, but to think about maybe there's a better place for it.
Exactly,
and there it is, in its better place.
It is. And
then we have the monastery also lots of monasteries. So the monastery of San Antonio el Real, which is originally a royal hunting lodge and then was later converted into a monastery. But this is also interesting for its sort of architecture.
Yeah, it has a blend, right? So it has this Isabelline Gothic style, but then also has the Mudéjar ceilings and flourishes and arches, right? So it's a beautiful blend. And
the Mudéjar, in case anybody is interested and hasn't listened to some of our other Poco A Pocos, is this more the Islamic artistic influence on the Christian buildings. You kind of get this combination, which is really interesting. And that's what this monastery has.
Yes. And what's also interesting about this place is you don't have to be a monk to see it because it's now part of a hotel complex. So you can stay there and eat at the restaurant while you.
Yeah, and they've utilized the beauty of this building, you know, for the restaurants and everything. So a lovely place to stay if that's your thing. And
if you do spend the night there, yeah.
Right? I think that would be really fun. And central, so you can sort of get around.
Yeah, yeah.
And Enrique,
I mean, the one thing about Segovia, everything seems to be walkable. Do you know what I mean?
It seems like it's a small
town.
A
small, beautiful
small city.
City. Town.
Large town, small city.
Large
I don't
town.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know where those, probably the amount of people in it. And I don't know how many people live in Segovia. So.
Right.
Oh, and also Enrique IV de Castilla, he spent his youth in Segovia, and there was an earthquake there in 1431, which he was survived, and also some accident in 1436. And so he had spent a lot of time also in Segovia. That was part of his kind of history and, you know, resume or whatever as well.
Gotcha.
So as we mentioned, Segovia is a very hot place for royals to be spending, and he was not, you know, immune to that.
No. He was and you know, I mean, finally, I think, you know, you can't go to Segovia without eating some pig.
Yes. Well, you can't go to Spain without eating some pig. But what's special about the one in Segovia?
It's the whole roasted suckling pig. They wheel it out to the table all crispy, spread eagle, whatever you call that, butterfly. You know, the whole thing.
Head and all for those who are squeamish. Don't try it.
And it's showing up in my feeds all the time. I don't know about yours, but on my social medias, I keep seeing the big pig and the plate. And
well, it will now that we're talking about it because my phone is listening. But let's see what happens. I'll give it 20 minutes.
And then you're like, that's all I'm seeing. But it's where they cut the pig at the table with the side of a ceramic plate to show you how tender it is. And they even go through the skull. Like, I mean, I don't know how long they're cooking this thing that they can crack the head open like that.
Well, and I don't know that that's the case for all of them. Let's not scare people too much. But they're definitely bringing the whole pig out.
Yeah. I mean, that's the meal.
It's going to be very tender. And it is called a Cochinillo asado, which is the whole pig. Mm-hmm. And I've had a whole pig before, not here, but actually back in the States. I mean, if somebody does spend the time to roast a whole pig and the skin gets crispy, it is really good.
It's delicious. Yes. Yeah. And you can find this dish throughout Spain. There's places in Valencia that do it, but this is where it originated. This is if you want to put it on your bucket list and impress your friends when you go back home.
And actually there's companies that have portable ones, and they will come and do them at your party. I mean, it's like a whole it's a whole thing. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But that's well worth it if that's your thing. If you're not too squeamish about whole animals, then that I think would be something you'd want to plan for. There's going to be several restaurants there that will do that.
It's definitely a dish you have to, it's not for one or two.
No.
Because
for sure.
It's a big party.
And I don't know if some of these restaurants do a whole one or a few of them, and you just go there and it's out and you just get bits off of it, maybe.
Right.
I don't know how that works, honestly. But if that's the case, that's obviously the way to do it.
So are there other foods we want to talk about if you're going to be there? We can't just eat pig while we're in Segovia.
Well, you could. And there's probably going to be pork and a lot of things that you eat, but we also have a couple of other specialties for this region, and one of them is kind of a soup. It's a judiones de la granja, which is a white beans. It's like looks like sort of a tomatoey soup, and then it has the big beans in it. It has chorizo, my personal favorite, the mortilla blood sausage, can be in there too, which I hate. Ew. But this resembles actually the soup that we had in a Sant Per festival in our town, which is in Valencia. So I think these kind of really hearty kind of winter soups are very popular in a lot of different parts of Spain. And they also had ours had rice in it as well, but it also had bits of the mortilla sausage. And
yeah. We don't need to discuss that more. The mortilla is nothing that I want.
No, I do. No, I'm not. And then I think there's one other you have.
They have a dessert called a Ponche Segoviano.
There you go. That sounds a little Italiano.
Which is an almond and custard dessert.
That
and
sounds
it's
more up my
rectangular
alley.
in shape. And it's patent protected.
Ooh.
I mean, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, so there you go. Don't be making that at home. You could go to jail, I guess, if it's patent protected. But it consists of like lemon-soaked sponge cake and a pastry cream custard and marzipan, which we know someone in this room loves.
This is so up my alley that I am dying now to take a trip just to get this. Because the other thing was what they do on a lot of pastries in Spain is for the decoration on top, it's really just a pattern of icing sugar. So this is what I see a lot. Sometimes it has a specific shape for that town that they've put a template in, and then they've put the sugar on top and stuff. So that's how they seem to like to decorate a lot of cakes here.
Yeah, and this one, the pattern, it's a crisscross, but it's burnt into it. So the sugar is
oh my gosh.
burnt.
That's a good idea, isn't it? So you sprinkle all the sugar down, and then you burn patterns
You stamp
into it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Extra flavor. And lemon-soaked sponge. Yeah, I'm all over this one.
So I'll meet you at the train station.
Yes,
We're gonna
5
head
minutes.
There. 5 minutes. Well, speaking of trains, Segovia is a beautiful place to go and visit and spend the night. But it's also only about an hour from Madrid. So if you find yourself in Madrid bored, because, obviously Madrid
Nothing
itself is
to do in
such a boring
Madrid.
city.
Yeah.
Nothing to do there. But if you've done it all and you want a quick day trip, Segovia is somewhere
good
you can
spot.
go. It's like a half an hour by train plus a little bus ride after. And by car, I think it's like an hour and a half. So it's a quick day trip. And like we said, these sites are all kind of near each other. So you can get a lot in a few hours.
Absolutely. No, definitely worth a trip. And we hope we've enticed you to go take a look.
I think so. I hope we did.
Until next time.
Until next time. Bye, Tanya.
Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of Our Spain.
We really appreciate all the support we have received since we started this podcast.
Visit ourspain.com for transcripts to this and our other episodes, some exciting merchandise, and if you are so inclined, there is also a link to buy us a coffee, which helps support this fun endeavor.
And please follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Our Spain Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you're listening.
It really helps us stay connected, and we'd love to hear from you.
Let us know if there's any topics you would like for us to talk about. Even though we are happy to talk about anything, we also want to make sure it's informative for you.
Exactly.